Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? This is My Africa Show, and today I have a guest for you guys, which is a finance consultant that is based in the US, helping US taxpayers pay less tax. Interesting, right? And also a professional and mentoring people to be wealthy. He is also a Pan-Africanist that preaches African spirit, the one and only Fred. How are
Grace,
you?
how are you? I'm doing pretty well. I'm really happy to speak with you today.
The pleasure is all mine. So, first I shall say good morning because it's in the morning time there.
Thank you.
What you do is pretty much interesting, helping US taxpayers pay less tax. So let's start with you, what you do in the US, because I feel like
Okay,
that would tell us a lot about you.
no problem. Thank you for the question, Grace. So, what do I do in the US? My background is in accounting and finance. Okay, so I've been in accounting and finance since '09. So it's been a long time. Okay, and let's talk about taxes. So, I started my tax business back in 2016 from an internship. And from that internship, I saw that the business owners and the entrepreneurs were paying less taxes in comparison to the employees. And I tried to understand why, because I have a background where my parent taught me to go to school, have a good job, and that was it. And by growing up and going to school in the US, I saw that this is like part of the truth. This is not the full truth. All right. You cannot just, if you want to become successful, being an employee is not the only way. You can become a business owner. And by becoming a business owner, you will be receiving incentives from the government, from the US government. Why? Because as a business owner, you're taking care of things that the US government can take care of. So their harms are limited. So they can take care of for everything. So if you come and you're a business owner, you receive a lot of incentives. So what do I
Interesting.
do with my business? I teaching my clients that, okay, you're an employee, but there is a way to pay less taxes legally. How can you pay less taxes legally is by owning a business. By owning a business, the US government will give you tax deductions to reduce your taxable income and you're gonna pay less taxes. And there are even some people sometimes they don't even pay any taxes. So you need to
Really?
understand the system. You need to know how to jungle the system and know what to do. So this is my goal. This is my job. I want to have the people over here not overspend on taxes.
That's really interesting. I bet a lot of people don't know this. And what is the
Mhm.
most common challenge that you have faced from your customers, something that you usually find in common?
Thank you for your question, Grace. Something I find really common in my with my client is that sometimes they are afraid to pay less taxes. I know that sounds funny, but this is the truth. I even know close people. I'm not about to tell their names over here, but I know close people. So when you tell them about some tax loopholes, the tax loopholes are the systems that you're using to pay less taxes. And then when you teach them about those tax loopholes, they are kind of leery because we think that you're trying to overthink the system. So they are afraid because that's something that they never heard before. So sometimes us human beings, when we don't know something, we don't want to get close to that. Are you following me?
Yes,
So
true.
this is one of the biggest challenge that I receive with some of my clients because they're gonna be afraid. But thankfully, I know how to talk to them, talk sense to them, and telling them that okay, the way you're going through right now is not a good one. This is all I can help you. And I also offer consultation for free. So to make them understand, to make them trust me first, give them advice first, tell them to try and come back to me.
That's really amazing. So
Thank
the
you,
next
Grace.
question that I have for you is something that
Sure.
I get to see a lot of Africans living outside of Africa. Whatever you do or in any kind of sector that you're in, there are going to be some challenge that will come to you, to your business, to your family. As an African, that's something that you face because you're living outside of your
Yes.
homeland. And
Hmm.
especially nowadays, the way we understand identity is changing. and it's being eroded. And I want to know, how does Fred understands that concept of having an African identity?
That's a really great question, Grace. African identity is not easy. So I want to be straightforward with you because I came to the US back in 2010 and I was a young man. I was 20 years old. Some people gonna call this old, but I was young back in the day. And when I came over here, people were kind of afraid of me because of my accent, you know. And when I used to go to school because my first language is French, and then you come to a country that speak English, and on top of
Mm,
that, you're African and you have a weird accent. I would say a weird accent for them. So when you start talking, people will not start laughing at you. I
mm,
used to be afraid to go buy food at the university because there are over students. There were over students around me. As soon as I open my mouth, they'll be looking at me differently, like, okay, where is from? Like he's different.
mm,
Does
mm.
he doesn't speak English, you know.
Yeah.
So that was kind of challenging, but over time, you need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to move forward, speak up, show who you are.
Mm,
Wherever you're going, you need to adapt to the culture, but with not forgetting who you are. So that was my journey here in the US. And over time, over the years, I saw that people were becoming more or I can say that used to foreigners like Africans. You see what I mean? So
yeah.
you can see some people now giving their babies African names and stuff like that. So I've seen that from 2010 to 2024, there's a lot of upgrade, a lot of evolution in the way Africans were perceived.
And I believe things are
Mhm.
getting better as time goes by, especially nowadays when there is this
Mhm.
very strong wave of that feeling of Pan-Africanism that is going or spreading
Exactly.
all across Africans living in different part of the
Mhm.
world. People are trying to find that sense of African identity within themselves around their environment, in their culture, in their tradition. And I feel like it's
I
really
agree.
important to understand that. So how do you define your term of Pan-Africanism, and related to that, besides all the things that you
Yes.
do, I have seen your videos that you post on social media, more specifically on Instagram. And I know it's two different things. Let's start with how you see Pan-Africanism and we'll go into that
Okay.
next topic.
Next topic. Okay. So I use my platform on IG to talk about business, taxes, finance. And at the same time, too, I'm African and I see that my continent is suffering for centuries. So I wanted to use my platform. We always sitting in the living room criticizing what is happening in our countries. Okay,
Mm,
what the leaders are doing, what so and so is doing. And I was tired of it. I was really tired of this, and I have my own platform now. So
mm,
with my own platform, what could I do? What can I do? How can I participate in the development of my continent, of my country? So I use that platform, even though some people didn't want me to do it. I still use my platform moved forwards to promote Pan-Africanism ideas,
mhm,
like showing to the people around us that okay, we are Africans. This is what is happening in our countries. We also have beautiful cities. We also have beautiful
yeah.
sceneries. We also have beautiful people. We are not in cage with lions because when I came to America, people were asking me, do you live with lions? Do you live outside, or did you come to America? Did you swim to come to America? This kind of weird questions. Yeah, I know,
Wow.
Grace. That's weird. Yeah. So I was tired of this. I wanted to show up Africa to the world, like what is Africa, what it means to be African, a Pan-African. But at the same time, too, I don't want to show everything that is beautiful because we have work to do.
Mm,
So I wanted to criticize the bad things that's happening in our continent, in our countries, what we can do to better ourselves, you know.
mm,
Uh, for example, in my country, we're still using a French colonizer's name for bridges and streets. And that's
okay.
something that I do not support. I want us to be pretty. proud of ourselves? Why not using names of our African heroes for the bridges, for the cities and stuff like that? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that being a Pan-African is being you powerful first because being an African, we went through a lot of things over the centuries when you talk about slavery and colonization. And even here in the US, we have a civil rights movement that saved the people to become free in some way. And we are powerful, we are resilient, like I said, but also I'm thinking about confusion and fear. Why? Because I would say confusion and fear because I can feel that we are not totally out there. You see what I mean? We still
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
kind of unconsciously praising the West. I have nothing against this community. They are beautiful over there too. But I want to say the truth. Sometimes the African community is always praising the West, the way they dress, the way they speak, the way they lead their people, the way they organize their politics. And
Exactly.
we are afraid to use elements from our culture because sometimes even some people gonna think that this is inferior to the West culture.
Yeah,
So
that is.
this is something that confused me. And there's another thing that a point that I just talked about when people are using French colonizers' name for a bridge and streets, it means that you are not really proud of yourself or you're afraid to affirm yourself,
Yeah.
you know. And that's something that can be fixed with the education system because our generation we already old, we already have a way of thinking. And I think that if we really want to change things with the African community, we need to start with the education system because this is the kids, are our future. You see what I mean?
Yes.
We need to teach the kids who we are because I remember back in the 90s in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, go to school and I used to study history. They used to tell me about the Roman Empire. They used to tell me about the French Empire and all those other powers in the world. But we never went deep into our culture. So we talked about few kingdoms, about few battles, and we jumped directly to slavery and colonization. So as a kid, you will see yourself as somebody that is weak, somebody that is always looking for a savior. You will always look for somebody that is better than you because uh, from your child out, nobody told you that you were strong, powerful, and beautiful. So this is something that this is our responsibility, our generation, teach our kids who they are. Why not having cartoons about African kingdoms, like in Ethiopia, in South Africa, in Tanzania, Ivory Coast, instead of just watching mangas from Japan, of America, or France, we need to put our heroes, African heroes, in different kind of medias so the people can see who we really are. Us first, because we need to find ourselves.
But I think when it comes to awareness and especially the thing that you said, confusion and fear, that is something
Mhm,
that is very common to see, especially nowadays. And there's a
mhm,
difference between being fearless without awareness and being
mhm.
fearless with awareness. And
Exactly.
when you're intention about what you're doing, when you know where you're going, when you know where you're at, that's very crucial for you to grow. And as you mentioned, education is the biggest and the main tool that we have to use to create awareness about our identity. But what else can we do? Especially nowadays, you cannot blame the school or the body, like educational
Mhm,
institutions, for not teaching, because it's the 21st century. You have your
mhm.
phone. Everybody has their own PC. You can Google. You can read. You can search. But I
Yes.
feel like we need some shifts besides that shift in understanding. But I want to know what else can we use besides education to create that level of awareness about ourselves.
Okay, that's a really great question, Grace. Beside the education system, what we can do, read the word of social media, of artificial intelligence. I think that being on the platforms and speaking more, being more vocal about Pan-Africanism ideas will be best for us. So this is my first point. First, I talked about education. Second point is using the social media platforms to speak about Pan-Africanism. This is how you found me. You found my page and you saw that, oh, this guy is talking about Pan-Africanism. He speak about businesses. You know, no, we have no more excuses to be sitting in our living rooms and criticizing the system. It's time for us to stand up using any kind of platform to speak up because nobody will speak for ourselves. So we can
Exactly.
use Facebook, we can use TikTok, we can use Instagram, and we can even start making more movies about Pan-Africanism, more cartoons about Pan-Africanism. So this is how I see it. And also the third element is business ownership. So I can see that in our countries. I speak personally to my country, where I'm from, Ivory Coast. I see that usually we can use, instead of waiting for the leaders to change the world, to change the education system, why not us entrepreneurs, business owners, creating uh, systems or schools, special schools to teach the kids what is being a Pan-African. You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So I
exactly.
think that we can you don't have to only you don't have to wait all the time on the government to change the words, you know. You can do things on your own as well. You know, I use my platform to teach to talk about Pan-Africanism. I know that there are some young kids and teenagers that are also watching my page. So indirectly, I'm trying to impact them as well. I do not have any school on hands, but I'm pretty sure that through my platforms, they can see what is Pan-Africanism.
Yes, yeah, definitely you did. So thank you so much, Fred. I know there's a lot of things that we can mention, but we should all understand. I believe we should all understand that the single drop that we contribute for the future of Africa counts. And
Mhm.
let's understand what we have inside. And you, with what you have, with what you believe that you could do, which is your social media, and sort of those kind of things, you're using it
Yes.
continent and for your homeland, which is so beautiful, and I really, really appreciate that. And I'm so glad we had this conversation, and I hope to see you in a much bigger position doing what you love and what you're good at. Thank you so much. But lastly, if there's anything else that you love to say, that you would love to pass on for our audiences, let me give you the chance and we can conclude.
All I can say as my last word is for us Africans to be proud of ourselves. We have work to do, but we are beautiful people and we should never give up. We should take our future in our own hands, move forward, teach our teach our child, our kids, and also use the social media platforms to speak for ourselves because nobody will save us. This is my last words, Grace.
Exactly. That is so right. Thank you so much again. Have a blessed and productive day. And I'll see you
You
in
as well.
some other episode.
Thank you, Grace. Nice speaking with you today.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.